At 12:16 a.m. on June 6, 1944, Private John Steele's parachute caught on the church steeple in Sainte-Mère-Église. He hung there for 2 hours, playing dead, while German soldiers shot his fellow paratroopers as they descended. Below him the town burned. This is the story of the men who jumped into darkness. But to understand how 13,000 men scattered across 30 miles of French countryside in complete chaos, we need to understand why they jumped at all. 6 hours before the beaches. 6 hours before dawn. Into occupied France. Lieutenant Dick Winters sat in the C-47 transport plane as it crossed the English Channel. Around him, 17 men from Easy Company, 101st Airborne. Blackened faces. Parachutes checked 3 times. Each man carried over 100 pounds of equipment. Their mission was simple on paper. Drop near Utah Beach. Capture 4 causeway exits. Without those exits, tanks couldn't move inland. Without tanks, the beach assault would fail. Winters had seen the intelligence photos. The fields behind Utah Beach were flooded. German Field Marshal Rommel had deliberately breached the dikes, creating vast marshes designed to drown paratroopers. 30 seconds, the jump master shouted. Winters stood, hooked his static line to the cable. The red light above the door glowed in the darkness. He thought about the letter he'd written to his mother. Seal, stamp, in his locker back in England. If he died tonight, she'd receive it in a week. The plane shuddered. Anti-aircraft fire. German flak batteries had opened up. Green light. Go, go, go. Winters jumped into the night sky over France. What happened next was catastrophic. And saved D-Day. The German flak was so intense that pilots took evasive action. Hard banks. Sudden drops. Speed increases. Anything to avoid the exploding shells. But evasive maneuvers scattered the drop formations. Paratroopers who were supposed to land in tight groups instead fell across 30 miles of countryside. Some units had only 10% of their men in the correct location. Winters landed hard in a field. Alone. Complete darkness. He had no idea where he was. He activated his cricket, a small metal clicker that made a sound like a cricket chirp. The password. 1 click meant friend. 2 clicks meant friend responding. Click, click. Someone nearby. Winters moved toward the sound. Found Private Popeye Wynne, face bleeding from a hard landing. Then 3 more men. None from his company. All lost. Meanwhile, above Sainte-Mère-Église, Private Steele's parachute deployed directly over the town square. The town was on fire. A house had been burning for an hour. German soldiers were everywhere, shooting parachutes as they descended. Steele saw men dying before they hit the ground. Sergeant Ray was shot mid-air, his body jerking as bullets hit. Private Blanchard landed in the burning house and burned alive, his screams carrying across the square. Then Steele's chute caught the church steeple. He hung there, helpless, his parachute tangled in the stone spire. Below him, Germans shot his friends. He could do nothing but play dead and pray they didn't look up. 3 miles away, men were drowning in Rommel's flooded fields. Private Donald Burgett landed in water over his head. 70 pounds of equipment pulled him under. He clawed at his harness, couldn't release it, panicked. His lungs burned. This is how I die, he thought. Not in combat. Drowned in a field in France. His hand found the release. He shot to the surface, gasping. Around him, other paratroopers floated face down, drowned before they could free themselves. But the scatter that killed some saved the invasion. German commanders received reports of paratroopers landing everywhere. East of the Murderette River. West of it. North of Corentin. South of Sainte-Mère-Église. The reports were chaotic, contradictory, overwhelming. The Germans couldn't figure out where the main drop was. Because there was no main drop. There was just chaos. And from that chaos came something remarkable. Small groups of paratroopers, 5 men, 10 men, strangers from different companies, formed ad hoc units and attacked anyway. They didn't wait for orders. They didn't wait for officers. They just fought. Sergeant Philip Nadler found himself with 18 men from 5 different companies. Not one of them from his platoon. They were miles from their objective. Nadler looked at his map, looked at the stars. Our causeway is that way, he said, pointing east. We move now. They moved through hedgerows, dense walls of vegetation and earth that divided Norman fields into a maze. Every hedgerow could hide Germans. Every shadow could be death. At 3 a.m. they reached Causeway Exit 2. 4 German soldiers guarded it. Nadler threw a grenade. The Germans scattered. His men rushed the position with rifles and knives. Brutal. Close. Quick. The causeway was theirs. Meanwhile, Dick Winters had found 12 men from his company and 20 others from different units. They were supposed to destroy a German artillery battery at Brécourt Manor, 4 105mm guns targeting Utah Beach. Winters had 32 men. The Germans had 50+ artillery support. The smart move was to bypass the position and report it to higher command. Winters attacked anyway. He split his men into 3 groups. Assault team. Covering fire. Flanking element. He trained for this moment 100 times. It felt choreographed. Natural. On my signal, he whispered. 3, 2, 1, go. The assault on Brécourt Manor took 13 minutes. Winters' men moved from gun position to gun position, throwing grenades into trenches, shooting Germans who tried to flee. Private John Hall was hit in the leg but kept firing. Corporal Toy took shrapnel to the face but kept advancing. Winters himself ran between positions, coordinating fire, directing men, exposing himself to enemy fire again and again. They destroyed all 4 guns. Killed 15 Germans. Captured 12. Lost 4 men wounded, none killed. Utah Beach would land unopposed by artillery. Back at Sainte-Mère-Église, the 82nd Airborne captured the town by dawn. Private Steele, still hanging from the church steeple, was finally cut down and taken prisoner. He'd escaped 3 days later. Across the battlefield, paratroopers seized bridges, cut communications lines, blocked roads. The Germans couldn't coordinate a response. Every time they tried to move reinforcements, small groups of Americans ambushed them. By 6:30 a.m., when the beach landings began, the airborne troops had accomplished their mission. Not according to plan. Not with the right units in the right places. But accomplished nonetheless. The airborne assault suffered 30% casualties in the first 24 hours. 2,500 men killed, wounded, or missing. Many bodies were never recovered. Paratroopers who drowned in the flooded fields. Men who landed in German positions and were killed immediately. Soldiers who were scattered so far from their units they were hunted down alone. Dick Winters survived D-Day. He survived the entire war. He later said, "Brécourt Manor was the most important thing I ever did. We saved lives on that beach." Private Steele survived, though he never fully recovered from the trauma of hanging helpless while his friends died below him. He returned to Sainte-Mère-Église in 1964 for the 20th anniversary. When he saw the church steeple, he broke down crying. The town now has a dummy paratrooper hanging permanently from the steeple. A reminder, a memorial. 13,000 men jumped into darkness on June 6, 1944. They jumped knowing many wouldn't survive the landing. They jumped scattered, confused, outnumbered, and they won anyway. Not because of perfect planning. Not because everything went right. But because when everything went wrong, they adapted. They fought with whoever was near them. They attacked objectives miles from where they were supposed to be. The chaos that should have doomed them became their greatest weapon. The Germans couldn't prepare for an attack that came from everywhere and nowhere. Today, the fields behind Utah Beach are peaceful farmland. But if you walk those hedgerows, you can still find pieces of parachutes caught in the trees. Rusted equipment half buried in the dirt. Reminders of the men who fell from the sky. They jumped into darkness. They landed in chaos. But they brought the dawn. Next, I will be covering the 5 words that saved Utah Beach from disaster. Comment below with your favorite part of the story, and subscribe for more stories of courage in the face of impossible odds.